Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and it's back. Welcome back. It's back. Supernatural has returned to our screens for the final 7 episodes of season 15, the final 7 episodes of the show. As a result, Supernatural was one of the shows that was one of the CW shows that took a hit during production from the COVID-19 pandemic, but they found a way. They managed to get back and safely film the rest of the season and get it ready to air for everyone. So they did want to. So I think they did actually fight to have it finished off as an actual TV show. There were some rumors I heard that they were either gonna try and finish it off as like a series of books or like graphic novels or something, or they were like considering going down that path. But now it seems like we have the TV show back. We have the actual episodes back. So yeah, my boys are back. My boys are back in town for the final few episodes. So yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that means that they're actually gonna manage to air it all within this month. I mean, no, once if it's one episode a week, then it would go into November. But yeah, it's back. Episode 14 this time. Called Last Holiday. So yeah, I have not prepared for this. You'd think in all the months that Supernatural has been off air, you'd think I would have actually prepared for the end that much more. Like when season 15 was announced, I wasn't prepared for it. When season 15 started airing, I wasn't prepared for it. And now that the second half of this season effectively has started airing, I'm still not prepared. I don't think I'll ever be prepared. I just like the best I can do is just avoid watching the very last episode. Just never watch it. You know, if you never watch it, the show never ends, at least for you, So I don't know, maybe that's the path I go down, maybe it's not, but either way, it's back. So episode 14, Last Holiday. So last time we had Destiny's Child, I believe it was episode 13, Destiny's Child, and it's been a long time since I watched that episode, but I do vaguely remember what happened in it and most of the stuff in it. And I think the thing I remember the most is Jack got his soul back. Jack actually got his soul back. The thing he'd lost like ages before that, he actually got it back. I think there was an episode to do with like the occultum, something called the occultum, and like it was to do with like the Garden of Eden and like the crossroads of divinity and everything like so that was something no other living being or very few living beings had actually been to since the whole Adam and Eve shenanigans actually went down. So he went there. Can't remember what he saw or what he did, but he went there. He went to the Garden of Eden. He interacted with the occultum. He swallowed something. He swallowed like the occultum, I think it was. Then it took him to the Garden of Eden, and then he went there. He did his thing, and then he came back with his soul, and then he broke into tears. If that's not the most accurate thing I've ever heard, he got his soul back and returned to Earth, and then he immediately broke down into tears. He immediately broke down into tears. That is one of the most accurate like in like representations of humanity I've ever actually heard. If you don't have a soul, it's much easier to not cry. If you have a soul, the waterworks come down, and you need that type of ice cream. You need it. Um, but yeah, he came back with that, and then it's because he remembered having killed Mary, but he also remembered how he was supposed to feel. Like he actually remembered, I remembered how I felt when my own mother died. So why could I not, you know, share that feeling with you guys when your mother died? Like he actually finally remembered how he was supposed to feel, how he actually all the stuff he was like kind of holding back, so to speak. So he experienced all of that stuff. We saw through flashbacks that Ruby and Joe actually had a kind of friendship. Ruby and Sister Joe, played by Genevieve Padalecki and Danielle Ackles, they actually had like their characters actually had like a kind of friendship way back when. And they were both kind of dealing with the occultum and stashing it away in their own little places and making their own little deals with each other and everything. So yeah, so Joe is still alive, but Ruby, as we know, she died at the hands of Sam. So, there's a beautiful irony there. There's a very beautiful irony that I think the fandom has known about for a while now. The fandom's known about that irony for a while, but it's there. It's still there. So we saw all of that stuff, and then we had the doppelgangers. We had the doppelgangers, the Sam and Dean doppelgangers from like another world, like where they were still hunters, but they were just super upper class, poshety posh like hunters. Like they're actually part of like a company that John started. That actually, they got paid to hunt. They got paid, and they splurged that cash on the most ridiculous things, and yeah, so then that happened, and then our Sam and Dean figured that they could use this new Sam and Dean to pretend to be them, so that if God was watching, then he'd know that Sam and Dean hadn't left the area and everything like that. So That was fun. That was fun. So I do wonder if we actually see any more like goofy doppelgangers popping by. Like, I would, what? I actually wouldn't mind like having like a female Sam and Dean. Like, I mean, but then I feel like that's just Charlie. Charlie is basically a female Sam and Dean. Like she's a female Sam and a female Dean, just combined, just morphed into one. So I feel like we already had that with Charlie, but then we could just. I don't know, maybe in an alternate universe, Daniil and Genevieve actually play, Samantha and Diana. I mean, Dean is named after Mary's grandmother, Diana, so I don't know, it could work. I don't know if that's actually a path they want to go down, but I'm sure the fandom wouldn't mind it. But either way, we had doppelgangers. That's the point. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can actually remember. It literally ended with Jack getting his soul, so that's like still somewhat like vivid in my mind. But yeah, I mean, I think I haven't really watched the season back. Like in the time it's been off the air, I haven't really watched the season back in the time it's been off, so my memory might be a little hazy. But to my knowledge, the story is still trying to defeat God and trying to find a way to defeat God. And I think Jack is actually set to the story is that Jack is actually set to take over God's power at the end of it all. Like, he has to build up his own power to be able to match God, so that once they take out God, Jack can take. I can't remember if that's what the story is or if that's what my theory was. It sounds more like it's what my theory is, because I still think that's something that could happen. That is actually something that could happen. If you guys want to check out more future like finale theories, go check out Alana King. She made a great video on what the finale of Supernatural could be, how the story could end, what how they could leave it, whether it's open-ended or closed-ended. Go check out her video and her channel as a whole. It's amazing. But yeah, she made a great finale theory video, and I think it was because of that one I actually kind of figured that Jack could take over from God, but also the ending for Sam and Dean might not be so grim. It might not be as dreary and miserable as we as a fandom might believe. They actually might get a happy ending. After all this time, they might get what they deserve, which is a happy ending. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see as these episodes get released. But yeah, that is it. And that is pretty much all I've got from the last episode that aired way back when. So let's go see my boys again. That's all I have. So episode 14, Last Holiday. This is the highlight reel of the reaction. This is the highlight reel. So if you guys want the full-length reaction to this episode, that'll be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. But yeah, that is it. It's episode 14. Let's go. Is he wearing an apron? Is he cooking? Oh, he's cooking.
The pilot light keeps going out. It's like the third time this week.
It's a good look. I never thought Dean would be one to wear an apron.
This place is supposed to be state of the art.
He cares about his cooking, though. He cares about it.
Well, hey, what do I do when my computer has too many pop-ups? Turn it
throw
off.
It,
turn it back
throw
on.
it away. Burn it. That computer is no longer salvageable. Oh crap. Oh. Reset worked.
Victory! Now, burger time. Meat man!
Oh, hello, dear.
Who the hell's this? Who the hell was that?
Lady, who the hell are you?
Language.
That's it, I'm getting my gun.
Jimmy!
Yeah, hey.
When in doubt, get the gun out.
Mr. Gannum called me Mrs. Butters.
Mrs.
Oh,
Butters.
Mrs. Butters. Wait.
I'm a wood nymph.
Oh, a wood nymph.
Okay, well, shouldn't you be in the woods somewhere, nymphing? The war.
The war?
What year do
Which
you
war?
think it is?
1958.
Oh, damn. Oh, snippety snap. Oh.
Well, afraid to tell you, but it's 2020.
Don't worry, 2020 is not much better either. Not really much better. Oh. Okay, and then she went into the warding.
This entire time we've been operating on like half power.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's
The
full
men
power
of
like then?
letters used my magic to give the bunker an extra oomph.
Ah.
What's that?
Oh, the radar, of course.
They have a radar?
We have a monster radar. We have a monster radar.
They had a radar this
If you
entire
boys hurry, I
time.
imagine you can clean out that nest and make it back here in time for supper.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll leave it outside the door in case you change your mind.
Is it the best way to put it on the floor though? Like where all the dirt and dust is? And you turn around and walk away and kick more dust up? Have like a little thing. Oh, they're literally pouring blood into it. Oh, Jesus.
Where have you been? In a grave.
Whoa. Christmas lights. Are those meant to be Christmas lights? A tree! That is the biggest tree they've ever had. It's October. They're meant to be Halloween decorations, not Christmas decorations.
We are so keeping her. He's a millennial. Don't let that throw you.
Oh, Jesus. He's in his
Are you
own
wearing-
thing.
Oh, dude, you gotta see this thing. It's like I'm wrapped in hugs. I don't feel this thing. Look at this. Oh. I don't know where you got this, Mrs. B, but...
Is that
Smooth.
milk? Oh, a
I
smoothie.
want one.
You may have tomato juice.
Tomato juice.
I'm worried about your cholesterol.
Oh, the alarms. Oh, the alarms. Now they got alarms to warn us when there's a monster around.
Would you like another smoothie?
Where does she get those smoothies from? What's in those smoothies? Whoa. What have they got? Oh, a grenade launcher. They kept me on here. He had me on here. Oh, and Sam's birthday.
Dear, at your age, I wouldn't think you'd want to celebrate your birthday.
Mrs. Butters has agreed to join the Men of Letters family for service and security.
Okay, so they made a deal with her.
This
That's a fool.
is a member
That's a
of the
fool.
who,
Yeah.
after a very thorough interrogation, is no longer of any use.
Oh, so
Mrs.
she's gonna
If you would.
kill him. Oh, just tore his head right off.
Son of a bitch.
The son of a bitch indeed.
The Dean Cave?
The Dean Kitty.
Yes.
No, you have to tell Dean, Jack. Jack, you gotta tell Dean. You can't take her out on your own. You can't take her on your own.
Is this some kind of test? To what? See if I'm bloodthirsty,
Because he's the
dangerous?
son of Lucifer.
Aren't you?
Because he's the son of Satan. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't.
Oh. Oh, his power's gone for real?
What did you do to me?
The
You
smoothies.
think those smoothies were for
Oh,
your
the
health, did
smoothies.
you?
I can never.
Oh, I've learned
I
a
can
few
never trust
things
smoothies
while I was
again.
doing it to make the bunker safe again.
Make the bunker
To
safe
get rid
again.
of all the monsters.
You can definitely tell Mrs. Butters from the 50s. You can definitely tell she's from the 50s.
You'll need your strength so we can go kill Jack.
Excuse me?
Excuse me, what?
Downstairs, trapped.
Oh.
Oh,
Sam,
that's a big
You don't
knife.
need to be afraid anymore. I will not let what happened to the others happen to you.
Yeah, we had a good thing going. And of course, you had to go full Nurse Ratched.
Don't know what that
That's a
means.
Netflix
but
series,
Dean,
isn't it, with
he
Sarah
is
Paulson?
a monster.
Yeah, I've
he
yet to
killed your
actually
mother,
check it
for
out.
heaven's sake.
Don't trust the sandwich. Do not trust the sandwich. Do not
Tell
trust
you what
it.
we're gonna do.
Why didn't you call me?
Well, I mean, figured you were practicing your sign language.
And that's not important to
Oh
come to
my
save
god.
you? Dean?
It's been a while for you, man,
Hey, come on, all right, whatever. Just, how do we stop her?
Well, he
Well,
cares
trust you.
about his brother. That's one way to put it.
I'm trying, okay? I really am. But what you did, that's not easy to forget. Now, I was angry with you. For a while. And maybe I still am a little bit, okay? But I'm not gonna let some evil Mary Poppins take you out. Do you understand?
Oh,
Oh,
damn it, she's
so.
good. She's good.
Now, I'm not mad.
Just disappointed, huh?
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, just disappointed.
I'm going to help you understand just the way Mr. Cuthbert helped me.
She gonna tear his head off? Not his beautiful head. Oh. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh. Bit of a crash.
Dang it. Oh, damn it. Damn it!
Damn it, yeah. Language.
Let's see if it can't correct your ways.
Pain? Not the nail. Not the nail.
This is gonna hurt me a lot.
Not the nail
more than it
again.
hurts you.
No, not the nail again. No, not the nail again. Not again.
Now
Oh
what
my
you
god,
will.
she took them all.
It's in his nature.
She took them all.
The sooner you accept this, the sooner we can be done.
She took all of his nails.
No.
I wasn't there for them before, but now I am going to stop you from hurting them.
Mrs. Butters, you've gone too far.
You boys would love it. Creeks and animals, snow, and... Oh, I'm getting carried away.
Hey, nature is beautiful. Nature is beautiful.
Then it's settled.
It's an interdimensional geoscope.
Interdimensional?
What? Yeah, I looked at it earlier. I didn't see anything.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah, because Chuck's wiping the worlds out. Yeah, Chuck's wiping out the other dimensions. So they see less and less. Oh, okay, that's very bad.
Dean, eat your vegetables. And Sam, cut your hair or
No, his hair's beautiful.
And Jack.
Leave it as it is.
go save the world.
Yeah. Chuck is the hero we need, but we don't
boys.
deserve. Yeah.
Ta-da!
Oh, a birthday cake for Jack. That's a
I made it
yeah.
myself, obviously.
Oh, that's so
It's,
sweet.
Not like Mrs. Butters makes it,
Yeah.
but
It's
Super
great.
sweet. Super sweet. He's gonna blow up. No,
Happy birthday, Jack.
It's fine. Mm,
All right,
Make a wish.
make a wish.
Make a wish. He wished for the credits. He wished for the credits to start rolling. Okay. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Okay, yeah, that was really fun. That was a really fun return. I think it definitely felt weird. I'm not gonna lie, it definitely felt weird. Like returning to the show, like not just returning, but even in terms, especially in terms of like doing reactions. I always feel weird when I like return to a show after a long time doing reactions and like reacting back to it after a long time too. So you know there are other reactors out there. I don't know if they felt the same way or if it was easy for them, but I think it's like. Had I simply been watching it on my own, that still it still would have felt strange. But then had like reacting to it after such a long time, after such a big break as well, it just like it definitely it felt weird, but a sort of good weird at the same time. It felt good to return to it. It felt good to actually see some new content coming out the show and like return to the kind of feel good vibes it always gives me. This episode was definitely like a strange episode to return to, like a strange kind of story to return to, because it was definitely filler. It wasn't actually like anything to do with God or any kind of big like pivotal plot point or anything. It was just like a fun little story thing that helped in some kind of developmental way. So yeah, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. It was very fun. We had Mrs. Butters. A wood nymph, and would not have been my first guess. I mean, she definitely kind of went around being somewhat like a fairy godmother, except without the fancy dresses and everything. But yeah, no, she was a wood nymph who was captured by Mr. Cuthbert. I think his name was it Mr. Cuthbert. I think it was Mr. Cuthbert. By the Men of Letters, captured by the Men of Letters, and I think her home was destroyed by the Thule, by the Nazi necromancer dudes. If they're necromancers, the Nazi wizard dudes. Her home was captured and destroyed by them, and then the Men of Letters found her, and then they convinced her. They told her. They convinced her that Thul's and other monsters of the world were monsters, and that their mission was to protect the world from these monsters and to save the world from these threats. So they convinced her to help do their dirty work with them / for them, killing at some points, but also mainly they enlisted her aid as like a helper around the bunker, making the food, doing the chores and things. I mean, you can definitely tell she's from the 50s. You can definitely tell she's from the 50s. Like, oh, the men have to go out to war and the women have to stay home and do this, that, and the other, and all that BS. I think, she definitely, she seemed like happy doing it. She seemed happy actually taking care of her boys and taking care of Sam and Dean as well, and actually doing this stuff. But still, it's super non-progressive and stuff. So, but either way, that wasn't the point of the actual episode. So, she was definitely from another time. She was from another time, and I think that mindset too. Like she had put the bunker in standby mode. She had actually put the bunker in standby mode, so she'd been trapped within the warding for all that time, and even when she'd been brought back out by them actually resetting everything and putting everything into full power, she came out and she thought that it was still 1958. She thought it was still 1958 without realizing that she was much further behind than she actually initially thought. So I mean, to be honest though, being trapped somewhere in 1958 and then coming back in 2020, it's not the greatest return point. It's not the greatest return point. But yeah, and it's true. I mean, 2020 ain't much better either. 2020 is not much. It's not all that better either. But yeah, she definitely held like those views that Mr. Cuthbert and the Meadowlarks gave her. She definitely held those views to heart that monsters were monsters and they deserve to die and that they need to be killed and everything. I mean, when she's been told to kill Nazis, you can't really blame her. Like Nazis, I think it's definitely opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to Nazis or like Thul's versus Jack. Like Jack on the outside, like when you find out what he is, you might think monster because son of Lucifer. So surely he's like destined to be the exact same as his dad. They're destined to be evil and destructive and all that stuff. But and as soon as he was introduced, that was the actual kind of conflict. That was the point of conflict. Like is he actually going to be a monster? And like an unstoppable force of power, or is he actually going to be someone who can, be good, who can actually be good and actually be helpful in these kind of situations? So to see that kind of thing is still going on. I mean, with Mrs. Butters, again, you can't really blame her. She's from another point in time. She's had this kind of, this kind of mantra just drilled into her head by the Meadowlarks, and she's done nothing but kill Nazis since then too. So it's kind of, when you kill one kind of monster for so long and then you get trapped in the vents, in the warding, and then you come back out again and you see the son of Lucifer standing before you, it's kind of hard to, I think it's easy to see how hard it is to let go of that kind of mentality and to think that, you need to kill him and keep the bunker safe and keep the boys safe and everything. So, yeah, but Mrs. Butters, she is a very, very big holiday person. She prepared all the decorations and all the food for Christmas and Thanksgiving and even Halloween. I don't think they were going to do Halloween. But they did Halloween. They had the pumpkins and everything, and they had, I think, there was one with like the USA stuff and the flag and everything and the balloons. I think that was American Independence Day, because I saw the turkey, what looked like a turkey, and like other, baked stuff like puddings and salads and whatever. That one screamed Thanksgiving to me. And then they had the Christmas. They had the biggest tree I'm pretty sure they've ever had in the bunker. I mean, Sam and Dean could not get a tree that big into the bunker. I don't think there's any way they can actually get one into the bunker. So I mean, she's a wood nymph. She's somewhat magical. So she was basically spawning smoothies from behind her back and everything. So yeah, the tree is not much of a big surprise, but she prepared basically every holiday for them, So that was cool. And yeah, seeing Dean fall head over heels in love with the food she made it's classic Dean. It's classic Dean. Even when the revelation came, and he was so conflicted. He was like, oh, that's a big knife. Oh, you want to go down there and kill Jack? Okay, damn. And then he's looking back and forth between her and the food, like the sandwich he made for her. Like, oh god damn it, the food she makes is so good. Is it worth killing Jack over? But yeah, no, Dean Dean and his love for food has been one of the highlights of this show. It's been one of the highlights of this show, and it's good to know that he's not just an eater. He is also a maker. He is also a maker. They have a kitchen, and as long as they have all the right ingredients, he can whip up something good. He's made burgers before. He made burgers now. He made the Dean Deluxe and everything. So he has an apron now. I've never seen him wear an apron before. I've never seen him wearing an apron before. So that's like a new level of professionalism and care that I've never properly seen him take. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I think I vaguely remember him wearing an apron before. I think I'm not sure. I mean, okay. Well, I mean, now I say that I don't know if I actually have seen him wear an apron before, or if I'm actually just picturing him in an apron. I think it's easier to picture him in an apron now that we've seen him wearing one. Like an actual thing that goes over your shoulders and everything too, and maybe like a little chef's hat. It's easier to picture him in that now that we've seen him in this than it is to remember has he actually worn an apron before. I don't know, but either way, he wore an apron making the burger, and he wore an apron making the cake. He made a birthday cake for Jack at the end, and it was sweet. It was sweet. Let's just say that much. It was a very, very sweet gesture. So there was that. But yeah, Mrs. Butters. Yeah, she was being studied and experimented on by them, and I think the experimentation, it wasn't anything actual brutal. Like it wasn't them actually testing her or plugging her with nodes or doing anything like that. It was literally just them maybe testing her powers and maybe seeing how good of a killer she was. And I mean, she literally tore the Nazi dude's head off his body and everything. So fair to say she's got some strength. So yeah. But yeah, that was cool. But yeah, so returning the power. I mean, what surprised me most was what they have that they didn't even know about until now. Like returning full power to the bunker with the assistance of Mrs. Butter's power. They have a monster radar. They have a they have a monster radar, but okay, like I'm. We can see how much easier it made their job. And I think it surprises me like how ahead of their time they were. I mean, well, the Men of Letters were in the 50s, and they had radars in the 50s. They used radars during World War II, so it's not really that far. But yeah, I guess it's not really that far out. But yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, I still think some of the stuff in there was still fairly ahead of its time, just a little bit. But they had a monster radar, so I mean, on the one hand, I'm more surprised that they didn't know about it, but whether or not they used it, I think it would have been cool if we saw them use it before. But I mean, again, like another one of the kind of core points of Supernatural has been the fact that they hear about the stuff, they find cases in the news, they do their research, and then they actually prep and go on hunts. Like Dean said, having a monster radar that told them everything they need to know. Like where it was, what it was, and all that stuff. Like, I mean, it was too easy. So, what makes them good at their job is that they're actually knowledgeable, and they actually do that kind of stuff, and they actually take the time to prepare and think about what they're going to do, and they have all those books and all the ingredients and the weapons and everything. So they have their resources. They're intuitive. They know how to use it. So that's like one of the core points. Even before they had the bunker, like they always had their own resources, and before the bunker was just literally the trunk of the Impala. That was it. Like they had ingredients in there, potions, weapons, they had everything they needed, and then they'd just be jumping from motel to motel to motel, and then they found the bunker, and then that became their home. So yeah, so I think it was cool, but I think it was like it makes more sense for it to be a one-time thing. And it's better for it to be a one-time thing because again, like we're used to seeing Sam and Dean be, good with their resources and actually be knowledgeable and actually be proper hunters and everything. Like just having a radar that tells them everything they need to know. The radar thing, it sounds like something the doppelgangers would have. Like the doppelgangers from last episode, it said like the radar sounds like something they would use because like they're part of like a bigger corporation, they're part of a company, they're part of a company and everything. They have those tools. It sounds more like something they would have than something this family would use. So it was cool, but I think it would have been cooler for us to actually know that they had it rather than to actually see them use it all the time. Like I think in extreme cases where they literally know next to nothing, I think then the radar would actually be useful. But yeah, I don't know. I think what surprises me even more is that the bunker has Wi-Fi. Yeah, like for being underground, I didn't think the bunker like it's. I mean, we've had it for seasons now, and I'm only questioning that now. Like the bunker actually has Wi-Fi that they can use. They have laptops, they have phones, and they have cell phone signals. They have Wi-Fi, like they have that kind of stuff, and they're underground. You know, like that kind of stuff surprises me. But then the monster radar, I think that's like inbuilt into the bunker as one of its features. So I don't know. It's a thing. It's weird, but it's cool. It's cool, and we saw the music for this, so that was cool. And yeah, even in terms of hunting, like we saw them like living out like a day-to-day work life of hunting, like, you know, like Mrs. Butters would make them little lunch bags with S and D on them for their names and everything. That was cool. You know, and like they were hunting vampires, they were hunting other things, like, you know, going in with guns, and I think the final one, the one that actually got me, was seeing Dean walking in there with like a grenade launcher, and Sam had Mjolnir. Sam actually had Mjolnir, so they kept Mjolnir. They actually kept Mjolnir. They kept Thor's hammer. So I don't remember them picking that back up again. I think there was that one episode way back when. I think it was like season 8. It was like back when Kevin's thing was happening and everything. You know, and they were at that supernatural auction, and there was that old guy who was actually trying to get Mjolnir for himself. Sam actually picked it up and used it, and took out the old guy and some other demon dudes. But then he dropped it again. So I didn't know that. Like, is that like, was that fake, or did they actually have Mjolnir? Like, do they actually have it within their possession? Like, is that actually just one of the mythical weapons they have? Because if they actually have Mjolnir, that would be super cool. That would be super cool. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Mjolnir being in this show, I think it makes sense because like, it's the Norse Thor's Mjolnir. It's not the Marvel Comics one. It's the Norse Mjolnir. So I don't know if that one actually has the worthiness thing. I don't know if that one actually has the same worthiness thing, because I don't know if the worthiness is exclusive to the Marvel side, or if that's actually part of part of the Norse universe too. I don't know, because I think worthiness, I mean, it's mentioned more with Marvel stuff because of how big that side of the iteration has gotten. And it's been like a whole thing within the story too. So I don't know if I think the worthiness might just be exclusive to Marvel, but yes, I mean, you know, it's still fun to see it as, oh yeah, Sam is worthy of picking up Mjolnir, so he can actually wield it and stuff, and he can just summon thunder and, you know, strike him out. I don't know, but it was a very very short, very brief moment of him actually wielding Mjolnir, nothing with him actually using it, but it's still cool to know they've got it. And yeah, so they also have an interdimensional geoscope. I heard Mrs. Butters call it. They're like the telescope they have is an interdimensional geoscope, and then Dean said that he looked through it and saw nothing, and then Mrs. Butters was like, "Oh no, that's not a good sign." So interdimensional, that means it actually crosses through other dimensions, other worlds, and everything. And if you can't see it, that means that more and more worlds. I think not all of the worlds are wiped out yet. I don't think all of the worlds are wiped out. I don't think all of the worlds are wiped out yet. I think it's most of them are wiped out, but he's continuously wiping them all out too until there's nothing but this one left. So, yeah, So he can't see anything, so that's obviously a very bad sign, because it means that there's no other dimension for the geoscope to look into. So, yeah, that's a bad sign. That's a very, very bad sign. But yeah, that's another thing they have, like an interdimensional. I mean, again, your interdimensional geoscope. That's like you know, that's like technology that's way ahead of the 1950s. It's not something you actually have back then. So some stuff that the Menelatus had and have is way ahead of its time and way ahead of its technology. I mean, we don't know if they built it or if they found it, but I mean, yeah, they built the bunker to be a safe haven and to be like a haven of knowledge and resources to battle the forces of supernatural darkness. So we can only guess. And then, of course, another story point is Jack addressing Dean's distrust. I mean, yeah, Mrs. Butters got in his head. About how he's a monster and how Sam and Dean don't trust him and how they should kill him, especially after what he's done, what he did to Mary. So yeah, and then he addressed it with Dean, and Dean came out with it. Dean did not hold it back. Dean came out with it. He said that, you know, they may have forgiven him, but what he did is still, for one thing, it's still somewhat recent. It's pretty recent. It was literally last season. That it happened, so it's still somewhat recent. But also, what he did and who he did it to it hit too close to home for them to actually forget. It's something that, you know, they might be able to forgive because they love Jack and they know he didn't mean it, but at the same time, it's not something they can forget. It's, you know, losing their mum again is not something they can actually forget. So it's not something they can actually move past with ease or forget that Jack himself has done. So yeah, Dean. I think Dean. Like, you know, I think that's always been the difference between Sam and Dean. Like Sam will be kind of softer. Sam will be kind of softer with what he does and says, and he will try and kind of like he will still work to make you comfortable. But Dean, he will be like, you know, the truth hurts sometimes, but you still got to hear it. You know, he will actually, you know, open up to you if he has a problem with you, and, you know, just make it clear that that's what the situation is. So with this one, that is definitely what he was doing with Jack, and yeah, I think it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I think, you know, he doesn't think he's a monster. He doesn't think that Jack is a monster because of what he's done. But at the same time, he's just not able to move past it that easily. Like, even with Jack having his soul back and feeling his guilt, like, you know, seeing the emotional reaction from Jack hasn't really changed it much. I think it might have changed it a little bit, but again, it's not changed it to the point where he can actually forget Jack did it. Like, Jack himself, he remembers he did it. He holds himself in higher guilt and more guilt than the boys do. So yeah, I'm glad to see they addressed it. I'm glad they addressed it, but especially now with this one being the final portion of the story, the final few portions of the story. I think now it's like going forward, they have to have some level of trust in him that he can do this. And I think he even addressed that with Sam too, like, you know, like on like a different level, on like a different topic, like him, like about how Jack was so easily captured by Mrs. Butters. Like, you know, he kind of questioned whether or not Sam believes he can actually do this, whether he can actually defeat God and Amara and take over their power levels and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I don't know if that's the best way to move forward with there being trust issues or, you know, like faith issues or something, but because I think that's the kind of thing Chuck would be counting on. Like Chuck would be counting on them not trusting each other or not trusting Jack or not really believing that, you know, that they can actually go all the way with this and that they actually stand a fighting chance. But that's what Chuck would be counting on. So I think having that show up in like one of the final few episodes, I don't know if that's like the smartest kind of story move. But I could be wrong because I think right now, like, they have enough on their plate in the sense of actually going forward to try and fight God. Like, they're trying to fight God. God is the creator of all. In this instance, anyway, he's the big cheese. He's the biggest of cheeses that they've ever milked. So yeah, I don't know if actually having any kind of doubts or any kind of, like, you know, personal fears or like trust issues is the smartest way to actually move forward as characters. But I trust the writers know what they're doing. I trust they know what they're doing, and I think it's not really a permanent thing. It's literally just him actually, you know, having that kind of doubt. And I think it's only natural to have doubts. If he has doubts, then that means he's actually approaching it with a clear head, and he's actually approaching it in the right way, and not just thinking, "Oh, I'm Jack. I'm an Nephilim. I can do this." Like, he actually, you know, if you doubt yourself, then, you know, there's a chance you're more likely to actually win because you're then all the more prepared to make sure you don't fail. So I guess we'll see, but I'm glad they addressed it on both ends. I think the power thing, I wasn't sure that they'd actually address that because of him getting captured by Mrs. Butters. I mean, he's not really, you know, as experienced with interrogation or evasion or anything like that, so I think that one kind of makes sense. And Mrs. Butters kind of had been planning this the entire time. She'd been filling those smoothies with all sorts of creepy witchcraft ingredients and, you know, weakening his strength and everything. So she had him right where she wanted him, even for the final touch. So that one is not really as much on him as it is on her, but then the actual distrusting with the whole kind of, you know, guilt and everything, that one makes makes more sense as an issue to address and whatnot. So yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. But I think I was wondering where Cass was. I was wondering if Cass would actually pop up in this because I think I should also point out, by the way, disclaimer, I don't know why I didn't mention this right at the beginning of the video. I don't know why, but, you know, just a disclaimer. Trailers were released, and I think a clip or two was released too, like, to promote these final 7 episodes and everything, because that was like a whole thing, like, oh, the final 7 episodes of Supernatural returning to CW. I haven't watched any of it. I have deliberately, purposefully, actually, you know, held back on watching any trailers whatsoever. Not because I didn't I mean, not because I didn't want to, but because I wanted to actually go into this final story as blindly as possible. Like, you know, I didn't want to expect anything. I wanted to see what the throw shows, what the throw shows my way. Perfect English. I wanted to see what the show throws my way, and just see exactly how they ended off. I didn't want to kind of spoil myself or even tease myself. With any trailers, because I think with trailers they give away new stuff, then you can actually speculate. And I think I didn't want to have to worry about any theorizing until I actually saw the episodes themselves and that kind of stuff. So I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know where the final 7 episodes stands on delivering us Cass content, or you know, like how Cass is gonna be in these final few episodes. But I was wondering in this episode if Cass was gonna show up, because they mentioned him. They mentioned that he was actually going around kind of contacting his angel contacts and seeing where Chuck and Amara were. Which I don't know why he's doing that now, because I think Jack still needs some time to actually get ready and do his thing. But I guess just, you know, keeping tabs on them is still important, and seeing where they are so that, you know, they know where to look and where not to look, and all that kind of stuff is still important. But yeah, I do wonder if like how much of Cass we're gonna get in this final one, because I think I'm hoping they don't do him dirty. But yeah, I think first episode back we get no Cass, so I'm hoping next episode we get plenty of Cass. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, that was a disclaimer I wanted to throw out there. I haven't seen any promotional material whatsoever for these final few episodes. So, and yeah, that is pretty much all I've got on this episode. So again, it was a fun return. It was a very, very fun return to the show, and I look forward to seeing what the other 6 episodes have to show us. So I'm not ready for Supernatural to end. I'm still not ready for it to I'm not ready for there to be a day when the final season, when the final episode actually airs, the final ever episode of Supernatural airs, and like, you know, when the Carry On Wayward Son thing comes on and it shows us the long 15 season long journey that the show's been on. I'm not ready to see all that. I'm not ready to, you know, just have to digest all of that stuff. I'm not ready for it. But yeah, I think this I think bringing us back to the show on a filler kind of reintroduced us to the show on like somewhat more of a calmer, more casual note, instead of instead of thrusting us right back into the story. It kind of gave us an opportunity to actually you know, enjoy the story in a much more calmer setting, while still maintaining the severity and gravity of having a magical creature being the one causing some trouble and stuff like that. So it was cool. It was fun. So yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from this episode. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know how you guys feel returning to Supernatural, and what you think might be happening, what your theories are for the final 7 episodes, how you think the show might end, what you thought of this episode, and going forward, what you expect to see. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got. So that was Supernatural, Season 15, Episode 14, titled Last Holiday. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Supernatural. Once again, the full-length reaction is over on Patreon. You can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.